Hello and welcome to my review of The Ragpicker King by Cassandra Clare. This is book 2 in the Chronicles of Castellane series. First things first, this book was gifted to me. I am on the Tandem Collective read-along, so this review is the last post for that. This review might have Swordcatcher spoilers. So if you haven't read Swordcatcher yet, 1, why are you watching a review about book 2? But 2, just be aware of that before you choose to proceed. Come on then. We have a friend joining us. So The Ragpicker King follows on directly from Swordcatcher, specifically the events of the Shining Gallery murder. But as the story unfolds, we have new conspiracies, new plot twists, and new characters. Yeah, we do. Starting off with the world building, as always, Cassandra Clare knows how to build a world, right? She has built about 17,000 books in the Shadowhunters Chronicles, and they are so in-depth and so to the point in their history, politics, magic world, all of that. So going into this and Swordcatcher in general, I was not afraid that the world would not be excellent. Just a little caveat while I remember, I actually read Swordcatcher originally on audiobook. I have since purchased the copy on Vinted because this one was too good. So the plot itself is definitely a 10 out of 10, as is the world building. There isn't as much world building in The Ragpicker King as there is in Swordcatcher, because obviously Ragpicker King is book 2 and she would have done all of that foregrounding and background and all of that in Swordcatcher, so there isn't as much of that to contend with. This does not suffer from the book 2 curse. You know where book 2 always just has a bit of a lull and it's a bit of a filler into all the drama of like book 3, 4? This does not have that. I would say the cadence was really consistent throughout, and towards the end it obviously went up a notch. So with the plot, there was one core plot, which was finding out who orchestrated the Shining Gallery murders, but as always, there's about 7 other subplots going on at the same time that Cassandra Clare is laying the groundwork for subsequent books, and she also tidies up a lot of the plot stuff from book 1. So you have the main plot and then a plot following Angelica, who is the Catani princess. Then you also have a plot laid down about Antonetta, and then there's also Lynn and the plot of the goddess. So there's a lot of intertwined narratives going on, but I don't feel like one is focused more on the other, or I don't feel like I was ever bored of listening about one. They were all well done, and I'm very excited to see how some of them go. Overall, with the plot, there was twists, there was turns, there was spice, which was really well done, and also not too much. Sometimes you can have too much spice. I know I said it. You can have too much. All the multiple different narratives going on and the different plot lines going on, they weren't fighting each other. They actually worked really well with each other. Equally, the different point of views worked really well at giving you insights into other characters. More on that later. And it was a plot that really helped push the story along and didn't make it too confusing, but also really made it interesting at every turn of the page. Also, what I really liked is in Swordcatcher, at the end of every chapter, you have something about, I think it was the Sorcerer Kings, but in Ragpicker King, you have a little side scene. So this is right at the end, and this is a little side scene from the point of view of Laurent, a new character, and it just kind of gives you like a cheeky bit of insight into what's going on somewhere else in like different scenes that will come back later, and you get all this knowledge like, oh no, the other characters don't know. So I actually really liked that part. It was way more interesting than reading about the Sorcerer Kings in the last book. Characters themselves are all great. You main ones are full of complexities, and the secondary characters, she's left them, which is great, because some authors can focus too much on building up the secondary characters just for no reason. So the main characters, Kel, Conor, Lynn, they get some real good depth to them, whereas the other characters like Antonetta, Jared, Merrin, and all of those, they don't need it, so she doesn't give it to them, which thank God, because I think I would have pulled my hair out if we got too much depth. You just get from those secondary characters what you need to know when you need to know it, and that's fine by me. Being said, we didn't get enough of Conor, and I'm really sad about it. That's like my main negative, I want to say, because I think if we did get more of Conor, I would have appreciated some more of the romance that he was experiencing and the turmoil he was going through. But because I didn't really get that much insight into his brain or what he was feeling, it just kind of fell a bit flat on that regard. Very Kel and Lynn heavy. So if they aren't your favourite characters or they annoy you for some reason, then you may get a little bit annoyed by this one. I think with the Conor situation as well, he has changed so much in this book from who he was before the Shining Gallery murder, and it would have been really, really interesting to see his brain afterwards and what he thinks, how he thinks, what pressure he now has on himself and all of that. Romances all fell flat, and I'm really sad because Cassandra Clare can definitely write a romance. She can definitely write a slow burn. She can write romance. I have read them. But these ones they just didn't do anything for me. Cal and Antonetta had absolutely no chemistry whatsoever. I feel like in the next book they will have more, and I'm more interested in that now because they've been through so much together. But there was nothing. I don't really see why Kel was pining over her so much. It just didn't make sense to me. Equally, Conor and Lynn, I do like the idea of them together, but as I was saying, you don't get as much of Conor as I would have liked to really understand and feel heart-wrenched at his declaration of love. I don't think there was enough build-up to it. They were just kind of interacted a little bit throughout this book, and it was like unpleasant banter or something like that, and then that was it. All of a sudden it's like, oh my god, I love him. Like, it just wasn't done very well. But Conor and Lynn definitely got better once it was out in the open, like after those declarations were made. I think more could have been done beforehand to make you really want to root for them and pine for them. Like, I just didn't feel it. I really love Antonetta's arc. The plot twist at the end, baffling. I don't know if you would guess it, because I don't even know how you would guess it. I was convinced that Cass, Kel's best friend from the orphanage in book 1, would show up in this book because he is mentioned a fair few times. So keep an eye out for that, because I now feel like he might come in book 3 instead, but he didn't show up, so there's my theory gone out the window. But yeah, Antonetta's arc is really great. I did not see this for her, and I'm really excited to see where she then goes now in book 3. Okay, so yeah, overall, The Ragpicker King is a sequel that did not fail. It is a really good book. It is full of politics, mystery, a band of little bandits, I want to say. Think Six of Crows. You've got royalty, you've got high society deceptions, and you've got love, lust, a little bit of spice, and it all just ties together so nicely. And I am so excited for book 3, whenever that's going to come out. But yeah, that was my review. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.